San Diego home prices have been practically flat for the past 6 months, meaning San Diego completely avoided the usual price surge we see in the summer. Now, headed into the fall, are home prices going to continue to stay flat, avoiding the usual fall price declines, meaning prices are going to stay stuck right where they are? That's the question we're answering in today's San Diego Real Estate Update for September 9th, 2025. Tune in every other week for a new San Diego market update, and tune in every week for new lessons, tips, and strategies for buying a home in California. I'm Jon Schwartz, your 1% Commission California Realtor, and gang, it is September 2025. If you know how to use Zillow, you shouldn't be paying your real estate agent like it's 1990. Working with a lower commission, full-service agent saves you tens of thousands of dollars while giving you all the guidance and security you need through the offer and escrow process. Learn more at my website, jonsch.com. That's jonsch.com. Now let's get into the numbers. Right now, we're looking at the latest weekly print from Redfin for the San Diego metro market. We're looking at this year and the last 3 years, each represented by a different color of line. 2025, of course, is this blue purplish line going all the way back to 2022, which is this greenish teal. Excuse me. 2022 is this greenish teal line. Right now, we're looking at the median sale price of a home in San Diego. And as you can see, that price has climbed for the past 2 weeks. We're now at a median sale price of a San Diego home at $921,000. Interestingly, prices popped above $900,000 back in February and have stayed in a relatively narrow band since. This is unusual. Usually you see a lot of price climbs in the spring and summer, and prices begin to fall in the fall and winter. And as you can see, this summer, we completely avoided the usual upward push of pricing and have seen a relatively flat pricing trend in San Diego. The question is, as we head into the fall, are we going to fall off like we usually do, or is this pricing somehow going to stay as a flat trend? Let's dig a little deeper and see what we can find out. Now we're looking at homes sold in San Diego, and as you can see, 2025 through 2023 have maintained a pretty tight band, whereas 2022 was much higher in terms of homes sold. Of course, the reason for this is that in 2022, rates were under 4% for the last time, perhaps ever. However, looking more closely at this year relative to last year, you can see that 2025 trailed behind 2024 in terms of home sales numbers, now finally catching up to beating last year's home sales numbers by just 0.6%. This helps to explain why the summer was rather lackluster in terms of pricing. When you have fewer home sales, that puts downward pressure on pricing, and that'll keep pricing flat through the summer. Now that home sales have surpassed last year's numbers, if they continue to hover above last year's numbers, that might indicate more flat pricing in the fall. Now we're looking at pending sales in San Diego, and pending sales is a leading indicator because a home goes pending about a month before it becomes a home sold. So what's pending now is going to dictate where the home sold metric will be in 4, 5, 6 weeks from now. And as you can see, the last couple weeks, this year's pending sales number has been trailing last year's. Right now, this year's pending sales number is trailing last year's by 3.5%. So if this trend persists, and you know what, scratch that, this trend is persistent now. It's been about a month that we've been trailing last year's sales numbers. So we should actually start to see homes sold begin to trail last year's numbers. And again, if homes sold trails behind last year, that's downward pressure on pricing. That suggests that pricing will fall off this fall and winter. Let's dig a little deeper. Now we're looking at the number of new listings coming to market in San Diego. For most of the year, this year was beating out last year. However, in the summer, new listings trailed underneath last year. Now, generally, fewer new listings means less inventory, means upward pressure on pricing. But as we already saw, fewer homes were selling this winter. So having fewer new listings and having fewer sales kind of cancel each other out. That's why we didn't see price climbs in the summer. However, the past couple weeks, new listings has been trailing last year's numbers. This week, we're behind last year's numbers by 3.9%. If we continue to see new listings dwindle as we go into the fall and winter, that's going to be upward pressure on pricing. Again, that's a vote for price remaining flat. through the fall and winter. Now we're looking at the new listing median price in San Diego. This is the median price at which these new listings are coming to market. This metric has fallen over the past couple weeks. We're now at $901,174, almost breaking that $900,000 mark, which at least in my head has some significance. New listing median price is an indicator of realtor sentiment. As listing prices go down, that means that what realtors are seeing on the market is prices going down. Now, in reality, prices have been staying pretty flat. So why are realtors pricing homes as though prices are dropping? That's a good question. That I don't have an answer to, but to me it suggests that realtors who are in the market, who are selling homes, who know what's going on, maybe are anticipating prices coming down this fall. Now we're looking at active listings. This is the total number of active listings on the market in San Diego. Right now we're at 6,765. We are over last year's numbers by almost 18%, but still down from our summertime peak, at which point we were beating last year's numbers by just over 37%. Now, if anything is going to keep prices propped up, it's going to be this dwindling number of active inventory relative to last year. Obviously, less inventory, provided that the buyers stick around, means upward pressure on pricing. Now we're looking at weeks of supply in San Diego. This is a more comprehensive metric than active listings because it balances supply against demand. This tells us how many weeks of supply are on the market in San Diego, provided that buyers were to keep buying homes at their current rate. And we've seen a corresponding drop in weeks of supply since the summer. At the summer peak, we were at 16 weeks of supply on the market. Right now, we're at 13.9 weeks of supply on the San Diego market. Obviously, having so much supply in the heat of the summer is going to keep prices from popping. And as supply decreases as we head into the fall, that's going to maintain upward pressure on pricing. So again, the metrics suggest pricing remaining flat in San Diego. Now we're looking at off-market in 2 weeks as a percentage of pending sales in San Diego. This metric tells us of the homes that are going pending in San Diego, how many are going pending within 2 weeks of being listed. And that metric has been growing since July. We are now at 39.6% of San Diego homes going off-market in 2 weeks or less, and that's a pretty high number. New listings and active listings have dwindled, meaning there are relatively fewer homes coming to market in San Diego, and more homes are exiting the market faster. That tells me two things. One, it could speak to the quality of home that's being listed, that better homes have been coming to market since July, homes that home buyers really want and are scooping up quickly. But two, it also means that perhaps because prices have been dropping, more homes have been coming to market at reasonable prices, creating quick bidding wars in the first week. And, bidding war is a strong term. Let's just say developing quick interest in the first week of being listed and popping off the market real quick. So what we can surmise from this metric is that if you're shopping for a home in San Diego and you see a good home and it's listed at a good price, you need to act quickly. Zooming out, we're actually in a very good window for California homebuyers. Check out my recent California market update to see where the market is now and where I think it's headed this fall and winter. And check back here in exactly 2 weeks for another San Diego real estate update.